Wozniak brought Jobs to the Homebrew Computer Club, where he was showing a new computer he had made. It would become the Apple I.
He saw a business opportunity that all these people wanted to build my computer design, but they didn't have building skills. And he thought, we'll put out some money, design a PC board, we'll make it for $20, we'll sell it for $40. And I didn't know if we'd sell enough to get our money back. We'd have to sell about 50. And I didn't know if there were 50 people going to buy my computer. And Steve said, yeah, maybe we won't get our money back, but then for once in our lives, finally, the two of us will have our own company. Wow, man, he was the leader on that.
In 1976, Wozniak and Jobs began selling the Apple I computer from the Jobs family garage. Buyers had to add their own case. The birth of Apple as a company had been masterminded by Jobs, a hippie with a business brain.
We started Apple simply because we wanted this computer for ourselves, and our immediate friends wanted one once they saw us build a prototype. So gradually we were pulled into business. We didn't start out to build a large company. We started out to build a few dozen computers for us and our friends.
To Apple's co-founder, though, the reality's a little less idealistic.
Steve was always sort of focused on, if you can build things and sell them, you can have a company, and the way you make money and importance in the world is with companies. And he always spoke that he wanted to be one of those important people in the world.
So he got the business side pretty clearly.
He got the business side, but he did tie it in philosophically with, this is how you get good things to people. It wasn't, I only want money.
It was Wozniak's next computer which propelled Apple into the stratosphere. Released in 1977, the Apple II was the first home computer with color graphics. Over the next 3 years, sales grew rapidly to more than $150 million, taking Apple from a suburban garage to the pinnacle of a new industry: personal computing.
There are some great partnerships, aren't there, in the world? I mean, one thinks of Lennon and McCartney. You and Steve Jobs, who was Lennon, who was McCartney?
I am so honored to be considered in that kind of category, and yet it's true, it's true. Yeah, Steve and I, we were like a Lennon-McCartney partnership, exactly. I couldn't say who was who. I always thought, people always attributed me with Lennon because I had this brilliance, technical, and really built and designed the machines. And then Steve knew how to take it to the public. But he had, his own type of brilliance too.
It's interesting how many big high-tech companies were started by two friends, like Hewlett and Packard, or Google's Larry and Sergey. Microsoft was too. Bill Gates co-founded his company, one of the most important and successful in American history, with his high school buddy, Paul Allen.
In the summer of 1975, 19-year-old Bill Gates and his partner Paul Allen formed Microsoft. By 1983, the future could not have looked more promising for 28-year-old Bill Gates and Microsoft. The personal computer business was booming, and there was an ever-increasing hunger for software. Bill Gates and Paul Allen were emerging as the crown princes of the personal computer age.
I think history is going to show that their partnership really was an incredible dynamic. I often compare it to the Beatles, Lennon and McCartney. The songs they wrote together are the ones that pretty much we remember and get played over and over again. They were great songwriters individually. We still hear their songs that they wrote on their own. But somehow together they were even greater than the sum of their parts. And Paul and Bill were like that.
Ben and I met in junior high school, growing up in Long Island together. We were 13 years old. We met in gym class, running around the track together, where we were the two slowest, fattest kids in the class. There was a pack of kids up in the front, and there was Ben and me in the back. The coach was yelling at us, "Gentlemen, you've got to run the mile in under 7 minutes. If you don't, you're going to have to do it again." And Ben would yell back at the coach, "Gee, coach, if I don't do it in under 7 minutes the first time, I'm certainly not going to do it in under 7 minutes the second time." And that was when I realized Ben was somebody I wanted to get to know. I went to college. I did 4 years straight. I was pre-med. I applied to 20 medical schools. I got rejected from 20 medical schools. Got a job as a lab technician in a biochemistry research lab so that I could fortify my background. I reapplied to another 20 medical schools. I got rejected from those 20 medical schools. I got another job as a lab technician in a biochemistry research lab because I already had experience. So that's what Ben and I were doing. We were essentially failing at everything we were trying to do. And so we said, boy, why don't we try to get together, do something fun, be our own bosses. Since we always like to eat quite a bit, we thought we would do something with food. We just picked ice cream, didn't know anything about it. We learned how to make ice cream from a $5 correspondence course from Penn State University. We were really broke at the time, so we split one course between us. It was $2.50 apiece.
Once again, the name of the company was unrepentantly goofy. Google, a twist on the word Google, a mathematical term for 10 to the 100th power. And once again, the founders were a pair of barely socialized young geeks, Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
The guys first met in the spring of 1996 on a guided tour of San Francisco for prospective graduate students at Stanford. Leading the tour was Sergey, a good-looking Russian-American kid with a bit of an attitude.
I think he was like 19 years old, which is very, very young, one of our youngest PhD students.
Larry was one of the incoming grad students on the tour that day. A doughy-faced Midwesterner, the son of an academic. His greatest claim to fame to that point was building an inkjet printer out of Legos.
He's a very unassuming guy, very quiet. He's not the kind of person who, when you meet him, you say, whoa. Right? I mean, you meet him and you say, here's a nice guy.
It was nice guy Larry who had the genius insight that turned search into something magical and launched Google.
When Larry and Sergey launched Google onto the Stanford website, everyone who saw it realized it was something special. Here was a search engine that cared about search again.
From their grad student office on the Stanford campus, shown here in this never-before-seen footage, Page and Brin struggled to manage the runaway popularity of their wondrous innovation.
There was so much traffic to Google that it nearly brought the entire Stanford University internet to its knees. And so the university administration said, you must move off campus.
We were just the lucky partnership. He was lucky to have me in the beginning, but I am much, incredibly lucky to him for everything in my life. He gets a reputation for being a strong leader and being brash, but to me, he was just always so kind, such a good friend, and I'm just going to miss him.